drastically changed because looking at the title and looking at the questions, right now it's a community approach in preventing cyberbullying. I am looking at the community, but I'm not sure how well it works. So you guys, just like the last class, I think I said it's a working title. It's changed, but it's still a working title. So as you know, my topic is on cyberbullying. So I'm going to go through my introduction, purpose, theoretical framework, questions, methodology, and the surveys and results. So my introduction, bullying has been raised to alarming frequencies, and with the booming of social media worldwide, 45% of children experience bullying, with cyber being the most prevalent. This is particularly prevalent in the urban districts with children 12 to 18. Research finds the effects of cyberbullying are especially damaging to the age group with a higher incidence of depression and self-harm. Cyberbullying is harder to prevent than traditional bullying due to the advances in technology, also parent ignorance in technology, and there is policy, but policy is not keeping up with technology. So my purpose of the study, this is a phenomenological study that is investigating the prevalence and perceptions of cyberbullying in the junior high and high schools in an urban district in Southern California. At this stage in my research, I'm using a CAR's definition of cyberbullying being any behavior performed through electronic or digital media by individuals or groups that repeatedly communicate hostile or aggressive images intended to inflict harm or discomfort on another. The theoretical framework that I'm using is Robert Agnew's, and it's called general strain theory. And I was caught between a couple different theories, but I thought this one really summed up bullying in general. And just like Karen, I need to look something a little closer up than the tiny little writing. So to get general strain theory, usually it's when a person has a failure to achieve their own personal goals. If there's a disjunction of expectations and achievement. This is what I want, but this is what I'm getting. The removal of a positive stimulus. So if a parent leaves, or if an older brother or sibling leaves the family, and that was what their positive support was. And also the presentation of a negative stimulus. Maybe there is an abusive family member. Maybe there is drugs and alcohol in the home. Maybe there's abuse. So having some kind of negative stimuli. What that leads to, the internal effects, and this is things that we've all experienced, is anger, frustration, disappointment, depression, and fear. But the problem is, what do you do with that inside? And anger is known as to be the largest factor in cyberbullying or bullying in general. Is just you take that outside stimulus, you take it, you internalize it, and what do you do with all that anger? As an adults, we find other ways of expressing that anger, getting rid of the anger. But as a child, they don't know what to do. So usually they turn that aggression and anger and put it on somebody else. And that's where bullying comes in, and especially now cyberbullying. My research questions, I have two. They are, what are administrators and teachers' perceptions of what works in preventing cyberbullying with their own student population? And this I'm focusing on administrators and teachers, their perceptions. The second are, what are the challenges and successes related to preventing cyberbullying within the school context? And here, not only administrators and teachers, but I also want to know what parents think, and also what parents think cyberbullying is and is not. And I'll come back to a research. That was very interesting in seeing parents answer the survey questions. My methodology, as I said, it is a phenomenological mixed method and case study that uses qualitative and quantitative data to determine the prevalence and perceptions of cyberbullying. Most studies that I found are quantitative. They ask questions, they take the data, they input the data, and here's the results. But when it comes to bullying, bullying is a very personal issue. It needs to be also qualitative. You can't just have a bunch of numbers that you compute, spit out an answer and say, we have bullying, yes we do. And that's pretty much it is. It's this percentage of people are cyberbullied. There you go. So what it needs to have is more the human factor. Yes, it's a sensitive topic and there is bias. Of course it's bias. I can't imagine anybody that would say, go bullying. But we need to also look at, well, what can be done to stop it and look at that human factor. For the phenomenological mixed method, under the quantitative, I have 4 scenarios, and they are all geared towards different types of bullying. To receive the quantitative data, I had multiple choice and ranking questions. Now, this is a change. When I did the pilot study, it was very beneficial because the first set of scenarios and first set of questions, I immediately started finding, and I see Michelle nodding, she did it for me.
I took it, and
there were immediately so many problems, and I'd love to hear from the two of you both about that. There were so many problems in that, and it might be, well, I answered this, but I have way more to say about that, or you want a yes or no?
My answer.
Yes, and it was quite shocking. So after extensive work, it now has not just multiple choice, but priority ranking. So yes, you're going to take those 4 choices, and instead of picking one, I'm going to put them in order of the way my policy-driven district wants me to put them. And now I get to put them, if I didn't have to follow policy, what would I rank them? So now it looks at getting more information gained on that, because as soon as they started coming in, it was, wow, this is, I'm really glad this was not my actual dissertation study. We had many conversations on that. It would have crashed and burned very fast. For the parents, there was a 12-question survey. I was very pleased with that one. It was already an established survey by a children's hospital, and it asked parents 4 questions, basically getting their understanding of what bullying is, especially cyberbullying, and then followed by another set of questions that asked them, if this offense occurred with a student, what do you think the consequence should be? But then it twisted it and said, if it were your child that committed the offense, what should the consequence be? And I was very happy that the parents, for the most part, said, that's the consequence. My child, that is the consequence. The only one the parents seemed to find was not severe enough was when it came to a sexual nature. Usually it was, well, maybe detention. But when it became the sexual nature, it was, suspension. And I had one parent that said, is that my only choice? Yeah. When it became the sexual nature of the cyberbullying, there was a parent that said, I'm sorry, I should be able to, no, I want, if it's my child especially, I want a lawyer, I want that child arrested, so I'm glad it wasn't an open-ended on that one, and it's just you have to choose, sorry. Then for the qualitative portion, each of the 4 scenarios have an open-ended scenario where it states, what would you do in this situation, or what are the steps you would take if this was brought to you? So that's where, and I'll mention the data, that was really interesting on that one too. And then I did an interview with our superintendent. I just was able to get that done this past Monday. So I now need to go through everything he said. Luckily he let me record him. It was great, very positive. The whole time I'm speaking, I was thinking, damn, I'm good. As I'm talking, I'm like, I really know my stuff. And I'm talking to him, he's talking to me, and I didn't have to look down, and I was like, I was so worried. I would be, so, tell me. But I just, every now and again, I'd be like, and also, I was wondering, and I was really happy with that. And then for my results on administrators, underneath here are the survey questions themselves. I'm not going to go through all of that and the information. But what I found was very interesting is that out of the 3 administrators that I interviewed or sent the surveys to, the 2 with more experience really looked at getting help for the child that was victimized, and these are the steps we would take, and also looking at this needs to be something that's addressed school-wide. The newer principal, happens to be at my school, the newer principal was, well, at first I would follow policy, I would consult the RSO officer, I would, everything was, you're following a script, and there was absolutely no heart. It was, this is what I will do. Almost like he was afraid I was going to catch him on something he wasn't doing right. And so that I thought, I'm very happy I added the aspect of demographic. How many years experience have you had? Because the ones that have had experience, yes, they're going to follow policy, but they're also going to, okay, I need to get help for the child. I need to pull, and my two here also said I'm going to take down witness statements. Everybody's going to have to write down what happened. Whereas, again, the principal that's new, I'm going to do this, then I will do this. And at the very end, it was, then I will contact parents. So you're getting the RSO, you're getting all these things here. And, oh, as an afterthought, that's right, I better call parents in and let them know what's going on. So that was very interesting and also very informative as a teacher at that school, what I would be able to expect of my administrator if this happens. As far as the teacher surveys, the teachers were universal. It was getting help for the child and educating the rest of the population of the school about what, immediately as we need to talk to our class, not just to pull that child, but the class needs to know this is cyberbullying, this is an offense, this is the consequence, don't be afraid to speak out. All these things that, no, they're not listed under a policy of these are the steps you take, but it was, all of them said, help the child, but educate the class. And I thought that was very, very well said, that yes, you can't ignore the other 30 children in the room. It's not just a one-time incident. Maybe that's the one you know about. But if there's one going on, I guarantee there are others going on the school as well. So that was, I really was proud of the teachers that said that this is what we do. And as far as the results for the parents, like I said, the majority of it was that they wanted some kind of consequence, even if it was their own child, except for the sexual nature that had to be more of a severe consequence. And another parent emailed me and said that, because one of the options was suspension, detention, a letter of apology, and I think no consequence. And she said, well, yes, detention, suspension on some of these, but there should always be a letter of apology. And I thought that was very interesting, because she was like, why can't I choose an apology and detention? Because every single time there should be some formal apology between one student who has committed offense against the child that was victimized. So
it's about restoring.
Are we gonna have a circle soon?
We're gonna have a circle.
Yeah, it's not just punish the child. They have to acknowledge. They have to face their, person that they have victimized, and they, at the minimum, should be apologizing. And so she said it bothered her that she could only choose suspension or detention when she wanted to put apology and. So even though I do like the survey, I'm wondering if that needs to be if it needs to be modified where pick more than one.
Choices.
Yeah, pick all the apply or something and kind of rework
You
it.
can also add something other, and they can write it in.
Maybe additional comments that you'd like to make or something, and that's where she could have said, this should be the consequence. A letter of apology should always be first and foremost a part of it. So I thought that was really good. And as far as conclusions, going on to my next steps. On Tuesday, I have to meet in front of all these assistant superintendents and superintendent, and hopefully they will finally sign that piece of paper. I tried to make them sign on Monday and get moving forward, and I know I need to defend this month, which is, wow, I still need to get approved to defend, and I'm very happy. Dr. Quiroz is going with me to Ireland, so I won't have to be alone. She was able to go. So, in 3 months, 3 months I'll already be there. Yay. Standing in Ireland going, oh. Thank you. All right.